If your life has become quieter over the past months, if your circle feels smaller, your phone less active, your weekends less crowded, it's easy to assume something is missing. But what if nothing is missing at all? What if the discomfort is not a signal of lack, but a mirror? What if this is not social decline, but directional refinement? The question is not why fewer people are around you. The real question is who you are becoming while others are still chasing noise. Many people spend years chasing approval without noticing the cost. They agree too quickly. They show up in rooms that do not sharpen them. They trade focus for familiarity because belonging feels safer than standing alone. But distraction carries a cost. It consumes attention. It scatters energy. Evenings lost to conversations you barely remember. Hours spent engaged, but not progressing. Silence, on the other hand, removes what is unnecessary. And once the unnecessary falls away, you begin to see more clearly, not only your environment, but yourself. If you misinterpret this phase, you will try to expand again before you have consolidated. And that mistake compounds. 5 years from now, this phase will make sense, but only if you don't interrupt it. Chapter 1. Silence reveals your level of control. Most people are not afraid of being alone. They are afraid of what surfaces when there is no distraction. Stillness reveals impulse, and not everyone wants to see what is revealed. It reveals how quickly you reach for stimulation, how uncomfortable you are without input, how dependent your nervous system has become on constant engagement. Imagine someone in their early 30s, stable career, decent network, always busy. Every gap in their schedule is filled automatically. Dinners, calls, scrolling, background noise, not because connection is needed, because friction is avoided. Then, one weekend, everything cancels. They sit in their apartment without interruption, without external stimulation, without an audience. Within minutes, restlessness builds. The hand reaches for the phone, pauses, and something unsettling becomes clear. Without stimulation, there is a feeling of being unanchored. That is not loneliness. That is undeveloped self-command. Silence does not weaken the disciplined. It exposes where discipline is missing and offers the space to build it. If you remain in that silence without escaping it, something shifts. You stop reacting automatically. You begin choosing deliberately. And the one who chooses deliberately cannot be easily manipulated, because impulse no longer decides for them. Clarity does not need leverage. Chapter 2. A smaller circle is often a sharper one. At some point, your interests begin to shift. Conversations that once entertained you start to feel repetitive. Rooms that once felt energetic begin to feel draining. Topics that once impressed you now seem shallow. This is usually where panic begins. The reduction in social activity is interpreted as loss, but focus always looks like reduction at first. A lens narrows before it sharpens. When your standards rise, your numbers naturally drop. That is not rejection. It is filtration. There was someone who used to attend every after-work gathering with colleagues, not because the conversation was valued, but because being forgotten was feared. Jokes were laughed at without respect, time was extended beyond desire, and home was reached mentally exhausted. One evening, a different choice was made. The invitation was declined. Not to work more, not to be more productive, but simply to spend the evening intentionally. A long walk without headphones, a quiet dinner without scrolling, an hour reading something challenging, time spent thinking instead of reacting. The next week, fewer invitations came. At first, it felt like exclusion. But 3 months later, something subtle had changed. Energy was steadier. Conversations were sharper. Presence was calmer. And the same colleagues who once filled those evenings began noticing the difference, not because of extra work, but because of visible composure. Position was not lost. It was refined. Anyone who tolerates any environment simply to avoid being alone will inevitably dilute themselves, and dilution weakens presence. Concentration deepens it. If your circle is shrinking, it often means you are becoming more specific about what you allow around you, and specificity creates edge. But here is the warning. If you cannot tolerate a smaller circle now, you will compromise your standards later. And once compromise begins, it spreads quietly into every other area of your life. Chapter 3. Independence alters your position. You cannot control who understands you. You cannot force resonance, and attempting to do so will cost you more than you realize. Many people exhaust themselves trying to remain acceptable, trying to stay invited, relevant, visible. But approval is unstable currency. The moment you depend on it, you surrender leverage. Reactivity makes you predictable, and predictability makes you controllable. The one who is comfortable standing alone evaluates before reacting, listens longer than speaking, does not rush to align with the majority simply to avoid friction. If you cannot stand alone now, you will seek noise when discomfort appears. Most people never learn to. Pressure does not create clarity. It reveals what was already unsettled. As your path becomes clearer, not everyone will continue walking beside you. That is not betrayal. It is divergence. Alignment cannot be forced. It can only be maintained. And maintenance requires restraint. Chapter 4. Ego hardens. Discipline refines. Here is where this can go wrong. There is a subtle trap in this phase. Solitude can refine you, or it can harden you. There is a difference between refusing dependency and developing arrogance. One says, I am above others. The other says, I am responsible for myself. Ego isolates out of pride. Discipline stands alone without resentment. If your solitude builds bitterness, you are shrinking inward. If it builds composure, you are strengthening quietly. Composure is not passivity. It is contained force. It is the ability to remain steady in environments that once unsettled you. It is conserving energy instead of scattering it. A still lake does not prove its depth by movement. It reflects clearly because it is undisturbed. That stillness is enough. The same principle applies to you. Chapter 5. Refinement is often invisible. So, what does the lack of friends actually mean? It often means you are no longer optimizing for popularity. Your attention becomes quieter. Your time is becoming guarded. Your standards are becoming clearer. Many people waste their prime in cycles of distraction that feel productive but build nothing lasting. Years pass in noise. Then they look back and realized very little was consolidated. Refinement feels quiet because real growth rarely announces itself. It happens when there is no audience. It happens when no one is applauding. It happens when you choose discipline over impulse, direction over approval, clarity over comfort. 5 years from now, the one who learned to sit alone without turning away will not envy the one who required constant company to feel stable. Because stability deepens naturally, but only if you stop running from it. If you cannot be alone, you cannot see clearly. If tonight feels quiet, don't rush to escape it.